All right,
I'll make a motion that we appoint Brian Murphy as temporary chairman in the absence of Terrence Hoy.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks.
For nothing.
All right. This is the monthly meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners, Town of Newcastle. We all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And Chris, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Cease members. All right, thank you. Let me find my agenda first. I had it here.
Ms. Stein?
Yes, Commissioner
All
Whittle.
Yes, the minutes of this meeting should reflect that Chairman Hoy is absent with an excuse.
So noted.
Okay. Statement regarding public comment. We will hold public comment until the end. Thank you. Chief's report.
All right, how you guys doing tonight? Everybody good?
Hey, Chief, how are you?
I'm
Aye.
doing well. As usual, I'm at the training center. I got a class full of people, so I'm going to make it brief. Couple of expenditures that we're looking to make and some changes. Believe it or not, we spent, and Chief Bologna spent I would tell you, probably the better part of 30 hours trying to get a whole year's worth of training in our online training system entered into Red Alert, and it had to be manually done by hand for every single member. And Red Alert now has a module that will allow it to link directly to Target Solutions. So anybody in our department who takes a class in Target Solutions will automatically get credit in Red Alert, and it'll transfer to their points and everything immediately, as opposed to waiting until 30 days to past the end of the year. And sometimes you have people that are on the cusp, and it would make life a lot easier and remove a burden on us. I think you have a quote that I sent over to you at $2,600. I got Alpine to drop that down to $2,000. So we would like to be able to do that. And I'll go on to the next one. I Am Responding is a app that has been out there, a commercial app used by firefighters across the country to give us mapping, hydrants, a feature that Red Alert gives us, but it doesn't give it to us to the level that we would like it. I can actually maintain the Red Alert system and get a $800 savings. It would be a cost that would be neutral, but we'd be able to do that, and it makes it a lot easier for our members to respond and for us to track them. So that's a $800 proposal that I have that I just didn't have ready to print, but I would like to.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is the purpose, I know that when an alarm goes out, it's usually a chief's chase car that's first on the scene. Does that allow the chief to see who's responding to the firehouse so they know what manpower they have?
Yes, and on top of that, the monitors in the bay and in the radio room will also show who's responding, and we can actually see them on a map and determine whether or not we should wait for them, whether they're close by or whether they're further away and we shouldn't wait. So it gives us a capability that has a significant effect on increasing our response times for no cost. Because I'm going to delete them as users on the Red Alert side. The chiefs will still use the Red Alert, but if I take 30 people off of the Red Alert, we'll have more than the $800 savings. So that's where it becomes cost neutral, and it gives us better features.
And with respect to the Alpine software, the Target Solutions, the 30 hours that Chief Bologna spent inputting manually the data, how long would that take with this interface?
It wouldn't be. It would be if you took a course at home today there'd be no man hours on our part. It would automatically be loaded. Now, you have to pass a test and you have to go through all the slides, but you will automatically be credited for that and eliminate the need for any manual input whatsoever.
I would make a motion, we approve both those expenditures.
On the question, if I may,
Okay,
Go
is
ahead.
there a recurring charge?
What's that?
Is there a recurring charge, like an annual charge for this? Or is it one
No,
time?
no, it's $800 a year, but we're going to save that $800 a year on Red Alert. So the recurring charge is negated in perpetuity.
Okay,
What do we pay on Red Alert right now, Russell? Like 8,000?
I think you pay in between $8,000 and $10,000 a year in your service.
Okay.
And then the other thing that I didn't mention, Chris, that I'm going to make your life a little bit easier is Red Alert does the interior firefighter cancer reporting, and I got them to do that for free. So you don't have to do the form anymore. It will link directly with New York State Office of Fire Prevention and Control and go directly to them by a press of a button at the end of the year. So
That's that December 31st, every year annual reporting is done.
which we still haven't done. I checked this week and we're not in there. But now if I do this work and stuff as part of this package, I can send that whenever we're up and running, and it'll do last year, and then we'll be ready to go for next year.
I actually thought that Sandra had looked into that and we thought
Russell.
we were up to date.
I did. And I called New York State and they said we're up to date in all of our filings.
Well, when I went on the website on Thursday of last week, we were not listed as being in, and you can check by individual firefighter. So I looked up my name and some of the other interior firefighters, and it's not updated on the website. So there may be a delay, but we'll see where it goes. But I have the ability to do that reporting by the press of a button, and Red Alert threw that into the package as well. Part of it was because I told them I was going to leave and go to another company, so they're looking to keep the business, but I got that thrown in as well.
So Chairman, I have
I have a
motion.
second. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was reminding the chair that I had
Yes,
a motion.
there
on
is
the
a
floor.
motion on the floor. Purchase both items. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Opposed?
next.
So carried.
Next on another item, our current ID printer has kind of crapped out and we're having a hard time with it. And again, it's a very arduous process to print both an ID and accountability cards. I have to take a picture of somebody on my iPhone and then I got to email it to my Chappaqua Fire Department email address, and then I got to bring that picture into the Red Alert software, and then the picture doesn't fit the right size. So it takes me about 20 minutes to make one ID, and every 2 years we have to print these things. I went out, I got 3 prices. I sent you the quote on the one that I'd like to go with. It came in the packet. This company was the same price, give or take a couple of dollars, as the other 2. But we get a lot more for it. It gives us a printer, it gives us the camera, and it gives us the software. Today, I created the Newcastle Fire District #1 Board of Fire Commissioners Secretary and Treasurer's ID in 20 minutes, and it's the easiest thing to use. So you guys should have that in front of you. But one way or the other, I have to replace what's currently there. So this is what we recommend that we go with.
That's for the 2741, Russell?
Yep.
Does it do banners?
What do you mean banners?
Well, if somebody like, say, John Nisman, who was a member and active for many, many years, who then retires, can you do a retired across it?
Absolutely. I can custom to do anything that you know, right now, if I need to change something on an ID, it's again through Red Alert. I got to pay their tech $150 an hour to make a change. And then I got to make it in the firefighter ID. There's a chief's ID. There's a captain's ID. There's a lieutenant's ID. There's a commissioner's ID. There's a secretary ID. So it adds up. This gives us free reign. They also supply all the products. It's easy to get. And it comes with lifetime warranty on the equipment. So it's a pretty good deal. And a number of people that are in the fire service and other places or in business are using these guys, and they swear by them. So
I'm seeing on your invoice a 3-year warranty.
is it 3? It could be. Maybe I was
You know,
wrong.
for the ID maker alone. I don't know about anything.
Yeah, just for the ID maker, correct.
It's lifetime technical support.
Correct, that's what it was, lifetime technical support. And I don't have it open on my phone, so. So we'd like to go ahead with that.
Again, I make a motion.
Go ahead, Chris.
You have a motion to
I have a
approve.
second. All
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Okay, so garage door openers. I had a conversation today with Commissioner Murphy.
All taken care of.
You took care of it?
Yep, move on.
God bless you. Good. I'm going to go skip to COVID-19 service bars. You know, I don't know that we do enough to recognize our membership for everything that they do. And I think sometimes we take them for granted. What I would like to do is go out and be able to spend up to $1,500 to get COVID-19 service bars for the membership. We're going to actually develop a criteria. There's certain people that went above and beyond who came to every single fire call and every detail and everything that we had during COVID, and we'd like to recognize them. Depending on price, they range from $20 a piece to $40 a piece. I think I can get away with the $20 ones, but I'd like to be able to do that and make that part of the official uniform for those people who earned that. So I don't have all the pricing in front of me, but I would like to have that ability to do that in a timely fashion before everybody else does, and then you can't get COVID bars because everybody's starting to go out and buy them. And we know that it's edge season and uniform season. It takes a long time. So I would say it wouldn't exceed $1,800. It's probably gonna be closer to $1,000.
We have a
This is on
motion.
the dress uniform, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd make a motion, we go ahead with that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So carried.
Okay, so inspection. We're going to start inspection cleanup in the next couple of weeks. With your permission, I would like to tentatively potentially hold a date for a dinner in October and November. No guarantee that we're actually going to have it based on where we are with the pandemic. But I would like to have the ability to at least plan for it. And if we get to a point that things are a little bit better and we're allowed, whether we do it outdoors or something, I would like to do that. So I may need to put a refundable deposit of $1,500 down. I'll do that. It's fully refundable if we change our minds and don't go with it.
What's the vaccination rate of the department, do you know?
I'm not allowed to ask due to HIPAA rules, but based on my current knowledge, the majority of our membership is double vaccinated at this point.
I would simply remind the board that under the town law, the only time that the district can spend monies, tax monies, on the members themselves in appreciation is the inspection dinner. So even if we can't get guests, even if the Board of Fire Commissioners cannot attend, even if no one can be there except for the members, that is money well spent.
And I think our budget is 23.5. Is that possible, Russell?
Yes, that's what it is.
What's the venue you're looking at?
Well, I'm going to go to Mount Kisco to get them to hold it. And at the same time, and again, the further I go out from October and November limits to what we can do outdoors. We start getting into iffy weather, but I'm going to look at a couple of other options that we can look at and say, hey, what do we want to do? You know.
Any other questions?
So last year's inspection money dropped to fund balance, correct, Russell? There was none.
There was no inspection, correct?
Right, okay.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry,
Can we get a vote on that?
we've said yes to the chief, right?
We should.
Yes, you should.
I don't think we need a motion, but yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so I got under old business, I have hydrants. I know there's been a couple of emails going back and forth trying to get a meeting with the town. The town is kind of being difficult in terms of times and availability of people that need to be there. I will share with you that it was announced today that the Rockland County firefighter in Spring Valley that died, they had water issues. And they've gotten the Public Service Commission now is doing an investigation into the municipality's water supply to determine who is at fault and what ramifications and options are available to the fire department as well as the family as it relates to the water system. I will tell you that I have sent numerous emails to the town making certain issues known and have gotten zero response back. I still don't know what the status of the rocks and the hydrants are at Chapco Crossing. We had a hydrant on Pine Cliff that didn't give us the required water flow that they said that their flow test showed that it gave, didn't give it to us. And I'm also in possession of knowledge that they hired an outside company and they're finding throughout the town that a number of areas are well below the rated hydrant flows that they've given us on documented pieces of paper when they actually go out and flow test it. So
When you say documented pieces of paper, you got the same maintenance logs that I got, right?
yeah, you get those maintenance logs and they're most of them, not all of them, but most of them are mathematical computations stating if you have a 6-inch main going into a 4-inch main with 10 feet of elevation going 1,000 feet, you're going to get mathematically this much water.
So it's not an actual flow test.
It's not
just
an actual flow test. And we keep having instances where we prove that the documentation that we're getting doesn't match what the actual flow is. And there's some pushback because I guess the town doesn't want to be held out that they're wrong and that they're actually not doing the service on the mains or giving us correct information that we're paying almost $100,000 a year for. So enough's enough. I got a fireman that died in Rockland County because they had poor water supply, and we can't even get a meeting with our town to discuss this stuff a year since we've been asking about it. Enough's enough. Either they do something or we go look for another means to solve this problem.
Of course, we're limited to Fridays by your schedule.
Well, I work, and I'm not taking off time so that the town administrator can fit me into her schedule. That doesn't work for me. We're the customer, okay? Customer service is key. We're providing an emergency service to the community. We should be on the top of the list. I can't think of another thing other than maybe the police department, the ambulance corps requesting a meeting that should be more important than what we're talking about.
Chief, we've been through this before, you know.
I know, I'm putting it out there. This is a public meeting. The public needs to know about it. The town needs to know about it. And enough's enough. Come to the table, be willing to discuss it. It's not about pointing fingers at who's right and wrong. Let's correct the problems and get the appropriate water to the places it needs to be. Or we have to find other means in order to protect those homes and find other pre-plans that we may have to implement in order to protect homes. It's that simple. So enough of my rant. Membership, I got nothing. You have my expenses. We had 28 alarms in February, and we're doing hose testing coming up on the 23rd of April. And that's
False
all I
alarms seem to have ticked up. Why is that?
Because people are doing silly things again.
People will be silly.
Most of our false alarms are human error.
Okay.
Next, I got one question for you, Russell.
Go ahead.
These receipts,
Yep.
they Langs?
I think one's Lang's and one's Lucio's.
Lucio one is the 2 edges?
No, the 2 wedges was probably Lang's. You can't see it, but the yellow one, because I Xeroxed it, the yellow one was Lang's and the white one was Lucio's.
The breakfast was Langs.
Yeah, breakfast was Lang's, correct.
Okay, the other one's Lucio's. All
And
right,
that was for physicals.
right, okay.
And then Lucio's was after a drill.
I make a motion, we approve the chief's expenses and reimburse the chief's staff.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
And that's all I got.
See you, Russ.
All right, guys, have a good night.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Been a while since I did this, so give me a second. Moving the agenda.
Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report, please.
Yes,
Follow the
hi.
agenda.
So you received my check register, you received the year-to-date budget report. Any questions, feel free. Brian paid the taxes today to the town.
In person.
They were due by the 30th, and I like to have them delivered, hand-delivered or stamped in front of your eyes at the post office, because there's too many times that they are not received on a
So-
timely manner. So he
Well, the
did that
receipts
for
are
us.
in the black mailbox.
Thank you. I'm almost wondering if it might be a good idea to have a black box, mailbox, with different names on it, like something for Sandra, something for the commissioners, and something for myself. Because we sort of intermingle them all, and it
Well,
might
that you
be,
brought that up. I was thinking about that today, so I gonna see what I could do about a couple more mailboxes.
okay, great.
What taxes did we pay?
County, district tax, like sewer tax,
Okay.
due April 30th. Commissioner Hoey wanted me to, I guess, talk about, I got an email from the comptroller at the town of Mount Pleasant regarding our 3 areas of fire protection where we have a contract with them. And he wanted to know our budgeted number versus what we expected. And as you may remember, what we budgeted was last year's actual, because at the time Eric was discussing increases with the town of Mount Pleasant, and we did not know what that increase would be. But in reality, we use one of the figures in the tax cap computation and increased last year's actual by that. So I gave that number to them, and Commissioner Hoey just wanted me to talk about it.
You know, remember the number?
Instead of $200,098, I think it was like 202,000. So it's not a big jump.
Okay.
I can get you the actuals, though. I'm sorry, I don't have them in front of me. There are signature cards at the office for everyone to sign. I know we'll be delayed a little bit, but anytime you stop in, please sign. That's all I have. Thank you.
What's your pleasure?
Except as read.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Secretary's report.
Thank you. I attempted to assist Commissioner Smith with his transition to the board. Hopefully it was a smooth transition. I tried to give him the information he needed to get various matters taken care of, such as his official email address, his oath of office, his commissioner training. And I also provided Mount Pleasant with a copy of Commissioner Smith's oath of office. And I also want to thank you, Commissioner Smith, for just being so expeditious and responsive and just taking care of everything every step of the way.
Thanks for your help.
Mike Wilbur, thank you. Mike Wilbur of Emergency Vehicle Response has gotten back to me with a suggestion as to how he believes we should proceed with those 2 reports that we've now been discussing for a few months about updating. And as I put in an email, as I stated in an email rather, he's suggesting that he create a proposal for the board wherein EVR, his company, evaluates the fleet and the equipment. And if while they're evaluating that, they determine that there's a need to redo the phase 2 evaluation, then he'll let us know at the time. But he said right now, there's no reason for him to give us a proposal for a phase 2 reevaluation. It's not necessary. And he doesn't want to bill us for anything like that. He did remind me again, though, he can't put us on the schedule until a proposal has been signed. Yes, Commissioner Weddle.
Yes, I just have a comment on that. I think Will was absolutely right. With the exception of any development at Chappaqua Cross, the demographics of the town has not changed at all. The fire stations have not changed at all, and that's kind of the point. with respect to the apparatus that we have, we've exchanged, we got rid of what, 146, did not replace it. Instead, we replaced it with a new rescue, which incorporates a third pumper, which carries water and foam. But other than that, nothing is really different. I'm wondering why we spent a lot of money on these reports, and since nothing has changed, why are we doing it again? I'm just curious because this all took place before I got there.
Chris, I believe it's just to help us have a way to educate the public, I think.
I agree with you 100%. That's why we paid for it in 2013, was to provide the public, not with information from the chiefs, not from information from the board, but from an outside independent evaluator who does this professionally,
Right.
To say these are the needs of the district. I don't think the needs of the district as per EVR have changed. They're the same. The public just doesn't seem to be too interested in that. I mean, the fact is, I mean, it may have to wait till the next piece of apparatus comes down the pike that we need to purchase, and we literally, and I mean literally, don't have a place to park it. That may be what it takes. I don't think a report from EVR is going to change the minds of people who are pushing back against I don't have the number, but I'll get to it when Ed takes a $300 a year tax increase for a period of, I don't know, you call it 15 or 25 years. I don't know why we're spending this money. It seems to be money that's poorly spent.
Well, we started doing some of their suggestions. We haven't completed them. They did suggest a tanker pumper. We haven't purchased that yet because we have no place to put it. It's just a matter of selling the building. I mean, once we sell the building, we can go forward with their suggestions from the first time.
I agree with you 100%, Brian. I just don't see why we're paying Wilbur. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're reputable, they're professional, they're thorough. And because they are those things, they are expensive. And I don't expect that their recommendations are going to be any different than they were years ago, particularly since we haven't followed any of them. I don't see what has changed.
I don't believe it. It's going to change any because if tonight listening to Russell, if you remember, like when they gave us the report, they told us all about the reports and all the stuff we needed for hydrants and everything. And as you listened to Russell tonight, we're still not getting the stuff.
I agree. I'm just, I'm not saying,
I agree with you. I don't see where we should be doing any added expenses.
I don't mind listening to EVR's proposal, but we've already paid for it. So why are we buying it again? My thought. I don't
If
know.
nothing's changed, the report's not going to change.
Right. So I mean, I just don't see the demographics have changed. So I mean, let's look at his proposal. But that at first blush, that was my thought.
This is Dwight. I agree with you. I just think that the follow-on report that he's thinking we might want to buy is not as full featured as the one he did in, what was it, 2017 or something, 2015?
Right. Yeah.
So,
no, it's 2013.
Okay. So maybe he's suggesting that we get this new review for whatever number of dollars it is to find out where we stand since then in those intervening years. Have we improved our situation? Have things gotten worse? And this maybe would not be a full-fledged report, but it would see where we are with respect to the last report. And now I'm not advocating we do it. I'm not even sure how much it would cost, but that may be his thinking. I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I think it's worth looking at his proposal and see the parameters of what he thinks he can offer. But I'm sort of having lived this, I'm just giving a broader perspective.
Okay.
Take it or leave it, whatever you want. But
Right.
Do we know how much he's asking for the follow-up report, the not full featured version? Okay.
Commissioner Smith, no, he hasn't given me anything about price because he wanted to know what he was creating a proposal for.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, from creating a point of reference, I reached out to him as a result of, discussions during the meeting. So he did
Right.
not reach out to us to say, hey, do you want to buy a proposal? I was reacting and reaching out to him. And you all will just tell me which way the board wants to go, and then I will go in that direction.
I would ask him for a proposal and what he believes the scope of that proposal should be, given the fact that our apparatus has changed minimally. Our infrastructure in terms of fire stations has changed not at all. If anything, they've gotten worse. And the demographics have not appreciably changed, except for perhaps the addition of Whole Foods and other commercial real estate at Chapel Crossing. He already addressed that in his original report with regards to the slopes and the ground ladders that would have to be carried and that
Right.
sort of thing. So,
Is that a proposal, Chris?
well, no, I think
I mean,
those
is
are
that
the things.
a motion?
I don't think we need a motion. I would just ask Wilbur, this is the parameters of what we're looking for. Send us a proposal, and if we approve it, then that will require a motion.
Ed?
So we can table this then.
Okay, very good. I also, as you've heard from Chief Maitland, I have been working on scheduling a meeting between some of the commissioners, the chief, and Jill Shapiro. But as you all know now from hearing Chief Maitland, we don't have a date yet. So as soon as something comes closer, I will let everyone know. Also, Commissioner Frank had approved the purchase. He gave us which laptop would be purchased for my role as secretary. I wanted everyone to know that it had been ordered by Manny. Dell has informed us now that there is a backlog. At this point, they're expecting delivery around the 3rd week of April. That's the best estimate. And I did go ahead, in fact, and order the printer that had been approved during last month's meeting as well. That would be my report. Thank you all.
Any questions? Approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes, March 11th, 21. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Committee reports. Commissioner Frank.
Okay, so as I sent out to everybody, we're still awaiting for Oak Lane's contractor to sign the indemnity letter that Lynn Weinig wrote up. That should be happening pretty soon. And the same day that the excavation is done, JMC surveyor will be on the site to survey whatever has to be done. In reference to the planning board, so on March 16th, the planning board, in fact, did approve and granted us a 6-month extension for the addition to the firehouse. And the date it was granted until is October 20th, 2021. So I did have quite a meeting with Lynn Weinig, Bob Mitchell, and Joe Montefiore of JMC to discuss various matters regarding the firehouse expansion. And I sent out an information letter to everybody, which you should have. I think some of the important things are that we need to apply for a permit to proceed with the firehouse expansion on or before April 24th, 2023. The alternative would be to submit an amended application, which I don't think we want to do. So the point is, I think we need to get going on this. And so one of the first things that should be done is to update our website to explain what it is we're doing. I have all of the information from Bob Mitchell. So I have photographs, layouts, etc. And I also indicated various reasons why we need the expansion and the benefits of that. And if anybody has anything that could be added on to that, I certainly would be glad to hear it. So I think maybe what I can do is to, Bob Mitchell had sent me what some other firehouses have done in terms of the website. I can do that, send it out to everybody for approval. And if it looks good and whatever changes anybody wants to make or additions, feel free. And then put it up on the website. And there should also be something on the website where people can opt in to receive periodic emails from us and all the various other items that I listed in my letter that I sent out. So there's a lot going on. I think the point is we really need to get moving on this. So what I can do is to start working on a PDF file, which can be posted on the website to show what the new edition would look like, the floor plans, and all the reasons we need. And I also mentioned that, of course, in addition to what Chief Maitland has told us, we all are well aware of the cancer issues and decontamination that our volunteers are faced with. And the suggestion was made that if anybody here knows of a doctor in town who could write up a blurb that we could put on the website to reinforce the idea that the decontamination facilities are really important. So, certainly if anybody knows of a doctor, just let me know and I'll add that into the document. So I don't know, does anybody have any questions or any suggestions on what I sent out to everybody regarding this?
Commissioner Frank, if I may, I apologize. When you were speaking about the date for the permit to proceed, the application, did you say May 24, 23?
Yeah, April. Okay, so we're being told, Joe Modafferi was told by the Town of Newcastle Building Department that we need to submit a permit to proceed with the firehouse expansion on or before April 24, 2023, or we would have to submit an amended application, which I don't think we want to do.
Thank you.
Create other issues. Did you receive a copy of what I sent out?
I did. Thank you so much. And then I
you're
sent an email
welcome.
to make sure everyone else did. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So that's my report.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
When they say we have to be in by 2023 or we have to reapply, is that for the permits that we already obtained from the planning board in 2016? Or is that something else?
That's what it is. We essentially, it would create, I could talk to you off the record about that, but yeah, we'd have to submit a new application, but I can tell you that would create certain problems, which, I could tell you in private.
Well, I know what the problems are. It's nearly $500,000 in professional fees, architectural fees, design, engineering fees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's the problem.
Yeah, there are some, similar. There are some other things.
With respect to the website, do we know how many people ever visit that website?
So yeah, that's a good point. So if we were to send out a mailing on what we're up to and include the website and ask people to visit the website so that they could find out what it's all about. Yeah, I don't know what how many people, what the stats are on our visitors to our website. I guess the webmaster would know that. But I would suggest mailings to everybody in the district to let them know they can go to the website and see what it's all about and why we have a need to proceed.
Just for, I mean, Brian knows this, Tony knows this, but in 2016, we sent a mailing to every resident of the district
Mhm.
with a proposal and an explanation of what we were doing. We held 3 public meetings, 2 of which were televised. Ed, you were, I think, all of
I
them.
was at the one, yeah, at the
Yeah.
library, yeah.
Right. No, you were at the library, but you were also at the firehouse. Maybe
Yeah.
for the 3rd one. That one was televised. The library was audio recorded. The reasons that we gave to the community then have not changed. If anything, they've gotten more dire. So I would suggest that we need to come up with something more creative and something that is, I mean, we did our, I think the district did its best to inform the public of this. And yet many people found it a surprise. They thought they had been sandbagged. They thought it had been brought in under cover of darkness. And while I don't believe that to be the case, if that's their belief, that's their belief. It doesn't matter to me, really, whether it's true or not. It matters that they have it.
Mhm. Well, you know,
That's one of the reasons why I kept on saying we have to sit down and we have to talk about this. We have to get this ball rolling.
absolutely.
I mean, and here we are in April already. I mean, we've lost 3 months.
Well, I mean, do you envision this thing going out for a vote in 2021?
Well, you know, talking to Joe, Bob, and Lynn, this is our hopeful plan, if possible. You know, I understand, you know, the drawbacks with this COVID thing and everything else, but, you know, the sooner we can get the ball rolling, I think that's advantageous, is what I think. And keep in mind also, over the last 5 years, a lot of new people have moved into the district. So, you know, they know from nothing. So
You take, for example, Bedford Village. They've been trying, and the last pitch effort was they did a video, and within 4 months, they went out for a proposal, and they got it. I mean, if we don't get it out by December this year, at least by January, February next year.
yeah, that would be probably
I mean,
the
that's
latest.
what I'm looking at now. I mean, the rate we're going, that's what we should be looking at. Either
Okay.
at the end of the year, we get the proposal passed, or at the beginning of the next year. So we get the ground broken in springtime.
Yeah.
Brian, do you know anybody over in Bedford Village, and could ask somebody over there who it was that provided that video? Maybe we could talk to them about how.
I can find out.
Recommend.
That would be
Might be a
good.
start.
I can find out.
We did it before, but we should talk to Hala again, because she got that thing through in Millwood, and they have a much higher tax rate than we do.
Right.
They do.
But if you looked at the original bond payment summary, now that was either a straight 15-year bond or a split between 15 and 25 years. And I know you're getting to this, Ed. I'm just jumping it. The average increase to a homeowner was between $570 and $647 a year. At the high end, that's less than $65 a month. And yet we still couldn't sell it. And that makes me wonder why. What are we doing wrong?
Well, I think it'll be a little easier selling it this time because we're not touching the old building.
Right. And if you look at those costs, you're saving, sorry, wrong document. You're saving between $985,000 and $1.5 million, and you're getting 60% of what you want. You're not addressing record keeping. You're not addressing storage. You're not addressing the possibility of having the building open to the public to use the larger spaces. Those things are all gone. Now all you're doing is parking apparatus, putting in decon. You're not doing sleeping quarters in the event that there's a storm. So our firefighters are still sleeping on air beds on the floor. So, I mean, I understand the board has made its decision. I don't understand it, But I don't think the difference in cost is going to be significant vis-a-vis the return on each dollar. And that money is going to have to be spent someday. Now, Ed said in his memo that he sent to us, there was a 4% cost. Now, between the estimates of the 2016 and the 2018 cost, it was the same 4%. And so it's going to, in 2 years, it's going to go up again, another 4%. We all know this is going to be done someday. It's just nobody wants to do it while they're paying for it. I'm sorry, I
Well,
did, Brian.
basically, the only thing we cut out was all the work that was going to be done in the old building and the sleeping quarters. Everything else is still there.
Right.
Everything else is still there, except for the sleeping quarters. They're gone. And anything being done in the old building, that's all gone.
Right, which means you cannot secure the big room, which means we cannot open that up to community involvement or community participation the way they did in Armonk, which is part of the way they sold their Taj Mahal. So, because we can't isolate that part of the building from the downstairs, unless you're not going to attach the new structure to the old structure and keep it completely isolated, which, you know, frankly, doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because then you lose the advantage of your ADA accessibility, you lose your elevator, you lose and Ed, while I was opposed to it at first, I think the glass transition is brilliant. It looks really great. It breaks it up nicely. But if it's going to be a standalone structure, then you know.
But it's not going to be a standalone structure. It is going to be attached.
Okay, I haven't seen the latest designs, but I'm
It's
just
going to be
saying.
attached.
Well, anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, what do we go from here? What do we do? I mean, do we talk to the people that did Millwood's video? Do we talk to Bedford Hills?
I think we should talk to Bedford Hills, talk to Halla. But I think we all should get together and sit down and discuss what we're going to do here. I mean, we can't just keep holding it off.
I agree. I agree.
Do we need a motion to get a planning session or something? Or work?
Well, we have to come up with a work session, which I see there's supposed to be one on here.
Well, we talked about it last month.
Yeah, I know we did, but they got something here. Supposed to be setting up a work session to discuss the Northern District.
You want to do that by email, or you want to do it now live?
I don't know. We got to pick a date anyway. I mean, to do it. So that's back down in the program, down in the minutes. But where's that? That's under new business. Right. Old business. So you want to finish with the committees, and then we'll discuss it. That'll put us in old business.
Okay.
Any problem with that?
No problem.
Sounds good.
All right, technology, Frank? Anything?
Oh, well, Sandra essentially already updated us on that. Her laptop is ordered, and her printer, and that's what I have on technology.
Okay, house.
Before we jump to the next committee or thing, I'd just like to ask Ed, when I started getting involved in the board here, I was talking with Sandra a bunch of times about the email limitation that I had found. And it was like 30 megabytes or something for email. And I wasn't even on the board for 30 days yet. And I had reached 108%. So I'm wondering if I kind of direct it to both you and Sandra, do we have an upper limit now that's greater than 30 megabytes for emails on the board?
Well, Commissioner Smith, the email I sent you the other day happened because I noticed that some of the emails I was sending to everyone, but including you, were bouncing back to me. And I thought that was atypical because you normally will respond to me. So I reached out to our webmaster, and what I said to him, Scott Cohen, who's been very cooperative with me, was if he could please bump you to the same level that I bumped everyone up about a month and a half ago. it's my understanding that he did that. He told me it was done. And it's also my understanding that that's the highest that we can go. So I had this conversation with Scott Cohen some time ago. That's when he talked about some other things we might want to consider. And then that also led the board to a discussion about whether we want to do anything with the fire department server. But as far as our current webmaster goes, I believe that this is the most that we can have. He did tell me that if we want assistance, using Microsoft Outlook, he's very happy to help us with all of that. But this is what we're paying for. So this is kind of what we can get.
Okay, I think that answers my question. Thank you.
All right, house. The water leak is part of the problem was the drains. I had the drains cleaned. The water disappeared, but it still leaks. I am working with several people and getting prices. I had one scheduled for Saturday, but I couldn't make it. I had to cancel it, so I rescheduled it. Russell requested a couple more door openers because 146, they put a beam going across the front of it. So if you hit the button, close the door, and you walk through, well, it stops and it goes back up because that's a new safety feature. So he asked if I could get a couple of more door openers so they could have them in the car so they can close the doors if they have to, not worry about the beam.
The clickers.
The clickers, yes.
Remote controls. Yeah.
Yep. And that's it for now. Commissioner Smith.
Okay. Forgive me if this is too long-winded, and just somebody yell at me if you want me to shut up or go away. Apparatus, car 2064 is going to be inspected this week or early next week, and engine 243 will be inspected shortly. Because of the weather, it's an open cab, and we have to kind of wait for a nice day. And there's a few drivers on it because it's a very old truck, and we've got to wait for the drivers to be available and the garage that does it for us to be available. I received the estimate for Tower Letter 27 accident, passed it on to Commissioner Weddle. We spoke about that a bit ago. Utility 31, the new utility. Commissioner Oliveri is kind of running with this, and he's waiting on a call from the dealer in the next week or so to get a better idea when the vehicle is going to be ready and delivered to us. Commissioner Oliveri is keeping me up to date with what's going on with respect to this. Once the vehicle's in, and we expect, and this is kind of my understanding, that it's going to be a week or so to get the radios, the lights, and the reflective striping on the truck. And then it all kind of depends on when the technicians are able to work this all around each other's schedule. So it'll take a week or plus or minus from once we get the truck. Tower Ladder 27 again has an intermittent coolant leak. One of the drivers went to drive it the other day, and he had an alarm on the dash panel. He had put some Prestone or what do you call it, antifreeze in it. And so we were running low on it. We got another 4 gallons delivered, and so we're good to go. But the drivers and officers are keeping a sharp eye on this leak. And if it happens again, we may have to put the truck in for some service, which, depending on how bad it is, it may require a new radiator, maybe require rebrazing or whatever they have to do. Chief Maitland's car needed both batteries replaced and a switch. I think there's a A/B switch between them. And while that was being done, he had the wipers changed as well. And those bills have been submitted to Robin. We also needed some chain oil for the chainsaws and some fuel for them. It's kind of a special pre-mixed stuff. So we've gotten a whole bunch of that in. So now if we have a bad storm, we're ready to go. You want me to go right into communications or no?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. So I signed a PO for Russell, Chief Maitland, for 3 new radios. The new trunking system is being installed actively out in the field. And our current radios are not going to work with the new system once they flip the switch to the new technology. It's called P25. And so the county is giving us some number of radios, but we're going to be shy 3. So Russell wanted to buy 3 new radios. So I signed the PO for that. They're going to be installed in the new utility, the current utility, and vehicle 2064, which is the chief's car for the assistant chief. And I think somebody mentioned last meeting that the scanner antenna was purchased. It has been purchased. We have the antenna in. I have the antenna in stock. I bought a new bracket for it, and Commissioner Murphy and I are going to discuss where we're going to install it. Are we going to install it on the chimney of the firehouse, or are we going to put it on the tower? There's pros and cons to each location. We're going to decide on that, but it's in, and that will be for one of the scanners, probably in the radio room. Yes, sir, Chief. Commissioner Whittle.
Yeah, bearing in mind that on the tower, the siren engines or burners have to be inspected and replaced from time to time. Is somebody thinking about that?
Are you talking about the wooden telephone pole where the siren's mounted?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, we're not putting an antenna on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a rusty pipe on the chimney, which is almost at the far end of the building, sort of near the back door going upstairs.
Yeah.
And that's where the citizen van antenna was. But during one of the severe winds, the bracket that it was attached with broke. So Chief Maitland and I went up there and we took it out. So that's a good place to put the scanner antenna, but it may need some rehabilitation. So that's why I bought a bracket, but I didn't buy a pipe yet for it. Don't know if we're going to need it, but that's probably where we're going to install it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm done, Brian.
Could I, Commissioner Smith? You had asked about the budgets available for communications, and
Yes.
so that profit and loss statement, which I hope you got, because I also got a few of your emails bounced back, will tell you the budget and what's spent to date. However, when you sign a PO, we don't encumber the funds on these reports, so you would have to take that into account.
Okay, all right. Maybe we'll have to talk about this on email or something and get me up to speed.
Got it.
Well, and actually, do you know, Dwight, with respect to the pagers, the engraving and Metrocom, did we end up doing that? Did Chief Maitland do that, or how'd that end up?
As I understood it from, or as I remember it from last month, Chief Maitland was asking permission to buy the machine to save us a significant chunk of change and do the engraving ourselves, as
Right.
opposed to having Metrocom do it. And my understanding is that engraving machine will last for years.
Right, saved us $1,000.
Yeah, probably more over time.
Right. Okay.
Then for all I know, it might be usable on other things, at the firehouse.
Right.
Any other questions for Commissioner Smith? Commissioner Weddle.
Yeah, the LoSAP audit has been submitted along with the new members. We now submit this electronically directly to VFIS. I haven't heard back. I heard back with a deficiency and was able to correct that. So that went in. So I think we're okay on that. With respect to compliance and policy review, I looked at, we do have a document retention policy. I did check the harassment and bullying policy. They seem to be satisfactory. With respect to town liaisons, as Secretary Stein mentioned earlier, we are struggling mightily and Chief Maitland struggling mightily to try to schedule a meeting to yet again discuss the hydrant issues with the town.
Ain't that it?
That's it. Unless there are any questions.
I just wish you luck with the town. So I tried to pay the taxes and that was a little hassle getting in. So, whole business. Scheduled work session meeting, reference the Northern Fire Protection Area. So,
How about Saturday, May 1st, anytime?
anybody got a problem? May 1st?
I think that's all right.
Dwight?
Works for me.
Works with me.
What time would you suggest?
10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock?
11 o'clock.
Did you say 11 o'clock?
Yeah, does that work for you, Ed?
Yeah, it's hard to, it's usually easier for me in the evenings. But if it has to be May 1st, I'll have to take a look at, but so if you want to do it, what about like 10? Would that,
Sure.
That's
10?
fine.
Okay,
Would
May
any of us,
1st, 10 o'clock.
would any of us have a problem doing it later to accommodate Ed?
Well, I think it'll be all right. When we get all done, I'll just take a look at my calendar, and if it's good, it'll be good.
If it's not, we'll just email around. We'll find a different day or time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
okay.
so May 1st, 10 o'clock.
May I suggest that we do this in person in the big room at Bedford Road, and maybe even weather permitting outside at one of the two spots?
I have no problem with it.
Well, if it's outside, I don't have a problem with it.
I'll have my second shot by then.
I think you need 3.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brad. Nice.
Because you gave me this job tonight.
May I interject briefly with respect to this working session? If it's in person, is this then something that if we're doing it inside, outside in terms of accommodating the public, how would that work?
That's why I suggested the big room.
The big room. Okay.
Yeah, we can spread out there and wear masks. And if
And
we're
Russell-
outside, we probably
Did
don't
Russell
need to.
make limitations to who could come into the building? Has he lifted those?
No,
It's and yeah, no, and it's the district's building.
So if that's in person, then we're not going to have to worry about inviting the public through Zoom. It would be an in-person meeting.
yeah.
Right, except for Ed seems to be expressing some hesitation.
And that would also include the 495 King Street. Anything else for old business?
Who's expected to attend this?
All
Well,
the
Fine.
anyone's allowed to, but I expect if we're talking about largely the Northern Protection District, it probably will just be the commissioners.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
As
Anything
well
else
as,
for? Excuse me, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, I was saying as well as me, just, with whatever assistance you all need for record keeping.
Yep.
Ed, do you have a hesitation on this? Would you prefer Zoom?
If it's outside, us old guys who are, I guess, more susceptible. I mean, I've had both shots, but if it could be outside, I would prefer that. I haven't been going inside, for like to eat anywhere or anything like that.
Okay, first of all, you're not that old, and second
Thank
of
you.
all right. So why don't we say for May 1st, weather permitting? If it's not permitting, then how much lead time do you need, Ms. Stein, to set up a Zoom?
I need a couple of days with the wonderful people that we have at NCCMC, but I also need adequate opportunity to notify the public of the location of the meeting. So I just want to make sure that I'm in compliance with that as well. So it's a dual consideration.
Yeah. Okay. Then maybe do it by Zoom.
I guess that would be the best. Because if it rains or something, we'll be messed up with it doing outside, so
How about the gazebo?
not big enough.
No, that's not big enough.
For the 5 of us, it's big enough. That was unkind. I apologize for that.
Keep it up. So we'll do May 1st Zoom, 10 a.m.
Sounds good.
New business. 2021 fire contract with the 3 districts of Mount Pleasant.
I
Oh,
haven't
that
seen it.
That was the item I spoke about with the comptroller of Mount Pleasant.
Okay, and he sent the contracts?
Mount Pleasant writes their contracts for us, and he has the figures now to supply for the contract. So you should be seeing them, let's hope, soon.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Robin, any surprises?
No,
Okay. Correspondence.
I would suggest that since that letter specifically addresses the Northern Fire Protection Area, that we reserve that for the work session.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right?
Opposed? So carried.
Brian, can I just interject one thing here real quick?
Yep.
I just want to thank Anthony Oliveri for joining us tonight, and it was just real quick, like to ask if he has anything to add to the report that I had earlier.
Oh, you did a fine job.
No,
Keep up the good work.
thank you. But is there anything you want to say about any of this historically? Okay,
No.
thank you, Tony.
Only thing on the new utility, I should know maybe more tomorrow. He's supposed to get back to me tomorrow, see when they're gonna finish the truck, and then it's gonna be arriving. So hopefully the guy's gonna let me know tomorrow.
Thanks. Sorry for forgetting to invite you earlier.
No problem. Don't worry.
Thank you,
Good to see you,
Tony.
Tony.
Yeah, it's good to see
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Public comment. We're now
There's
open.
no one out there to comment. No public are watching.
Oh, I should have been much more candid than.
Man, I look out. All right. Any other business? Future dates. Next regular meeting is May 13th, 2021, 7 p.m. via Zoom, unless otherwise posted. Do I have a motion?
Oh, wait, and 5-1.
Yeah, the work session.
Oh, yes, in the work session of May 1st at 10 a.m. Zoom. Anything else? Do I have a motion?
Before you do that, on a completely off topic here, I'd just like to thank everybody for helping me come up to speed, especially Sandra. I've been emailing her sometimes in error. And thank you, Robin, for bringing me along, and Tony and Brian, of course. And I've been working with all 4 of you. So thank you all for helping me. Appreciate
Glad
it.
to have you here.
That's what we're here for.
Dwight, I'm sorry I haven't been more help.
I haven't reached out to you, so it's not your fault.
All right. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Meeting is ended.